Welcome back. So today we're going to be discussing a squad that for a long time I wasn't super interested in, but I know they've been popular for a long time. And that squad is the 100th Jaeger Division, the 227th Jaeger Regiment. So, per their description, the division was formed in December of 1940 in Upper Austria. It participated in the invasion of the Soviet Union, the Battle of Uman. Since July of 42, the division takes active part in the Stalingrad offensive. The formation was the only German Jaeger division fighting at the Battle of Stalingrad. Now, what's special about them is that they come with the Suomi KP-31. And it's a pretty nifty gun. So I guess I'll start by discussing why I never was really interested in them in the past. So when they first came out, they were a Stalingrad-specific squad, and this was during the campaign system. I was already done with the Germans in Stalingrad. They were cool. Their counter squad, the naval infantry for the Russians, is also cool. Like, their uniforms are pretty nifty. I think that these guys have the more interesting gun, because essentially the naval infantry just have a PPSH. It's like, there's nothing special about it, but they have better uniforms. So, for a long time I didn't really care for these guys because I already finished Stalingrad, and anything that I could have possibly wanted to use in Stalingrad, I already had, so I didn't need them to grind, plus I already had the captured PPSH. That will come into play later as well. After the merge, I feel like the squad gained popularity because they're like a high BR squad, they have a good gun, and the thing is, for people who didn't get the Stalingrad pass, because back in the day when Stalingrad was a campaign, there was a pass that you had to buy to unlock everything in the Stalingrad tree. For people who didn't do that, I'm pretty sure they didn't have access to the captured PPSH, and so this was the only way to get a high capacity, good fire rate, room clearing, street sweeping submachine gun in the German tech tree. So I understand, for a lot of people, these guys have always had inherent value, but for me, they didn't, because I had PPSHs, and the PPSH is probably better, but we can get into the stats in a little bit. With the recent update to the format of Assault Squads, though, this squad has gotten a new lease on life for me, and so I picked it up in, I think, winter sale? Whichever sale was right after they made that change. So now they're a 6-man squad. In mine, they have an engineer, an AT soldier, and 4 assaulters. And the engineer uses the same Suomi KP-31 as all of the other assaulters. Now, the AT soldier does not. I've got him running around with an FG-42. And that's perfectly fine for me. He's got an FG-42 and an Offenrohr. I could swap it for an FG-42 too. This is just what I had on hand. And the Offenrohr and the Panzerfaust 100 are pretty interchangeable. But if you use the Offenrohr, you get a gas mask, and gas masks are cool. So, let's talk about the Suomi KP-31 itself. So, it's similar to a PPSH or PPD or any of the Soviet-style submachine guns. It takes a 71-round drum mag, just like the Soviets do. It hits for 6.6 at 10 meters, and it shoots at 990 rounds per minute, so it's got a pretty good fire rate. Reload time's 2.9 seconds, shot deviation 78, recoil control percent 70, and 2511 vertical horizontal. So, all things considered, it's a pretty good gun. It shoots in auto and semi-auto. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. Like, it's shooting around 1,000 rounds a minute. It's, similar in fire rate to most of the MG42s that you're going to come across, except it's got a 71 round drum. Now, what it's competing against for me is the MP717R, and it's also doing 6.6 damage. It's shooting at 980. I'm actually surprised by that. I thought it was over 1,000, but I guess I'm wrong. So it shoots at 980. The reload time's 3.4, shot deviation 82, recoil control percent 60, vertical recoil 20, and horizontal 9 with a 71 round magazine, fires in auto and semi-auto. So, as you can see, they're very similar. The MP717 reloads a little bit slower, it shoots 10 rounds slower. I don't think that that's noticeable. I feel like the recoil control is better on the MP717, but I'll be honest, I don't fully understand how impactful shot deviation and recoil percentage are. Like, it's really easy to compare vertical recoil to horizontal, from one gun to another, and they are better on the MP717, but the recoil control percentage is lower, and I feel like the guns are very similar. I just sometimes feel like there's less, I don't know, visual. It's probably more of a visual recoil thing now that I think about it. On the MP717, shot-wise, they're probably about the same. And actually, shots individually, they probably go wider on the MP717, just based on its stats. But the TLDR is that they're both very good guns, and traditionally, I didn't feel like there was any value in getting the Suomi squad, because I can run a normal tech tree assault squad with the MP717, since that's exactly what I ran alongside the squad to compare it to. I got enough of these guns during Stalingrad that I could outfit lots of squads with them, if I wanted to. So right now, my JE-188 squad, like, all 5 guys in the air crew have them. I have a guerrilla squad where all 5 guys have them. I have an assault squad where all 7 guys have them. And then I'm pretty sure I still have another, like, 7 of them in reserve. So if I really wanted to, I could run, like, 2, 3-ish. No, like, maybe 3.5 squads worth of MP717s. And you can't get them anymore. They were limited to the duration of the Stalingrad campaign. I just like PPSHs, so, you know. That being said, I like the Suomi squad. They're pretty cool. I like that it's a different gun. I'm pretty sure all of the Suomi guns are Finnish, which also makes them kind of interesting. The reload's a little bit different because it's got a little action on the back of the gun for the bolt. It's pretty nifty. I like the way the gun sounds. For somebody who doesn't have the MP717, though, that's where I think the real value in this squad is, because there's really nothing in the German tech tree that even compares to this. Like, the Germans have the STG, which is fantastic, but the STG is nothing like this. The closest thing that's in the German tech tree is probably the Kierli, and even the Kierli kind of falls short. The Kierli hits harder. I don't have a fully upgraded one to look at, so, we're going to have to guesstimate the stats, but a stock one is doing 6.6 damage at 10 meters, so you can imagine that goes up by, 20%? So that should be somewhere in, the 8 range. And it's also going to be shooting at 760 rounds a minute. That'll go up by, I think, 10%, 15%, so it'll get close, but it's not going to hit the almost 1,000 round mark that the other one has. And the real kicker is that it only has a 40 round magazine, and it doesn't have the 71 round magazines. So even though you do reload a little bit quicker on a Kierli, it's not so much faster that I'd rather have it than a bigger magazine. So all of that is to say that for somebody who doesn't have the MP717, the Suomi's awesome. It's fantastic. And getting an AT soldier or second engineer, that's your persuasion, has given it a lot more value than it's ever had before. Like, in the past, I would have looked at it and been like, oh yeah, that's cool, but, there are paratroopers, and the paratroopers are more versatile. Or, there is a half-track, and the half-track will work at every BR, right? Like, there are other squads that, to me, I think they just have more inherent value, so I'm more inclined to recommend them. Now that these guys are one guy off of being a full assault squad, they have a lot more value, and I can more comfortably recommend them. Like, okay, you're giving up one guy. Well, people get mulched in this game, so it's nice to have depth, but at the same time, one guy probably is not going to make a difference. And given that they picked up an AT soldier, they're not really missing any important specialists anymore. They have an engineer, so you can build your ammo, you can build your spawn points, you can build fortifications, and they've got an AT guy, so now you can just pop vehicles when you see them. It's honestly great. So, to the player that is just reaching BR 4 and 5, that wants a good assault squad, absolutely, I would recommend the Suomi. To the player who played Stalingrad, realistically, the MP717 is close enough to the Suomi that if you don't feel like you need another assault squad, there isn't really a great reason to get them other than they're cool, they're Jaegers, they've got like goggles on their hats, you know, whatever, right? Like you can come up with a reason from a collection standpoint why you might want them. But from like a pure power play standpoint, if you've got the 717, they're not really adding anything important to your lineup. Technically, they're a small downgrade because they are giving up that one soldier. But I like them. I think they're fun. I've been running them quite a bit lately. I keep them on my lineup, so let me know what you think down below. Are you a longtime Suomi user? How do you think it compares against the MP717, the captured PPSH? I like them. I would recommend them. As per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.